Oh man, come on! Who made a mess of the bench again? Oh yeah, that was me. Good morning everybody and welcome back to the channel. This morning I'd like to talk to you guys about the Arctic Air Ultra. That sounded way too formal, but we're going to talk about it anyhow. So I saw this thing a while back and I saw a couple reviews on this thing a while back and I was like, you know what? That's interesting. But it caught my eye for a very specific reason and I don't think it's what you're thinking. So yes, they advertise this thing as an evaporative air cooler. Now, that's also referred to as a swamp cooler. Yes, they work. Now, I live in New Jersey, so it gets kind of humid out here. Like, I'm an hour from the ocean and right next to a river, so it's like, it gets humid. These things are designed to, well, these things work best in dry environments. So if you're living in like Arizona or New Mexico or Northern California or whatever, then this would actually do a lot better for you because the dryness of the air would be able to absorb and cause more phase change on with this. This, by definition, is a phase change cooler. And you guys are looking at me like, this guy's nuts. But it's true. The reason it's a phase change cooler is because it's using water, dribbling it over a pad, and then as the air blows through that pad, it causes the water to evaporate. It causes the water to change from a liquid to a vapor. Phase change. So, in doing so, the water that evaporates is carrying with it the BTUs that causes heat. So, the water that's left behind is cooler. And the air is in turn cooler as well because of the cooling effect of the water that's still there. As well as, I'm not being specific, the water that evaporates absorbs heat from both the existing water as well as the air. In other words, yeah, I'm getting too lengthy with this explanation. Either way, the way it works, you dribble some water over a pad, you blow some air across that pad, you get colder, cooler, wet air out of the pad. Again, dry climates, that's beautiful because you want to humidify dry climates. Wet climates, like where I live, not so beautiful. It's already too bloody wet. I want to dry the air. So I don't expect this thing to work very well for me. However, that's not what I have in mind. If you pick up and go back a few seconds, you'll notice that I mentioned that it also cools off the water. That's part of a cooling tower, like a commercial cooling tower. Part of what that tower's doing is actually cooling off the water to reuse it, simply by blowing air across it, causing the hotter molecules of the water to evaporate, leaving the colder molecules behind. So, I have an idea for this thing that it may actually work as, I'm not going to call it, it's not a water chiller, but it may actually work better as a water cooler than an air cooler. So I want to test that out. Either way, we're going to test the effectiveness, and then I am going to hopefully demonstrate to you how this thing actually cools off water. Unfortunately, I have to add an asterisk. The hotter the water is, the better it is at cooling off the water. So there's that. It's better off on the hot side of something like the condenser, you know, like an air conditioner has a hot side of the condenser, but either way, it'll still work for me with the ideas that I have in mind. That being said, let's go ahead and tear into this thing and see how it works. Now, I'm trying to do this video without editing because I'm really trying to build the idea, you know, hey, it's all a learning curve, right? I'm pretty new at this. I've only been doing it a few months, but so trying to get good at the whole making a video without needing to correct a whole bunch of faux pas, and spaces and all. Oh, look. Do not return to store. Okay. Product guide. Save these instructions. All right. Maybe not. All right, what powers this thing? So this thing is powered by, let's see what it says. The adapter is 5 volts, 1.5 amps. You could drive this thing off a USB. Oh, I could drive this thing off the solar panel USB. Is that pointless? Might be. I don't know. Boxes, boxy box, more box. Okay, it's packaged at least decently. It's in there. Boxy box. Anything else? Nope, that's it. Baggy bag. Don't eat this stuff? I don't know if anybody's ever tried that. Upside down. Here it's upright. Oh, everybody on YouTube gets like excited over the peel, right? Like I'm not sure what it's about, but I guess let's try that. So here we're gonna peel the plastic off. Look at that. Oh, left a little bit behind. I guess I suck. Anyhow, there's some tape here. Okay, so the tape holds in this little grill. What do we got? We got a lid here, so this is where you're gonna put your water. There's a little tab in here. It says, hey, don't fill it above that. Okay. You have your DC 5-volt input. I can, if I want to use a USB, I can simply modify a barrel plug that's this size. I'll have to figure out what size that is. Modify a barrel plug to plug into a USB outlet. No big deal. For now, we're just going to use the 110-volt adapter. Cable. It's about that long. Plug. Come here. Plug her in. What do we get? So we have oh, that's actually kind of a noisy fan, but that's at full speed. That's not bad, but what does this do? I have no idea. Maybe I should read the directions. We don't need it anyhow. All right, let's see what's in the front of this thing. That looks like a, what is that? I think maybe a 140 millimeter. There's a simple 140 millimeter. It looks like a high pressure fan for what that's worth, but a little 140 millimeter fan up in there. I'll bet you, that's a computer fan. I'll bet you I could get a Noctua that would perform better. So that might be an upgrade I end up doing. Throw a Noctua in there. All right, this is the pad that I'm talking about. Is there no pump? No, it's just a natural drip. What happens if it drips too fast? I do not know. Huh. So it's evaporative, like to the umpth degree. So this isn't... Alright, I'm going to have to modify this thing to do what I want to do with it. Well, that's kind of sad, but we'll still try it out. So this is the pad that I'm talking about. You can see, I can see you through there. You can see me. So what's happening here is you make these pads wet, right? So you make the pads wet, and the water, or is it wicking up from the bottom? It might be wicking up from the bottom. Either way, you make the pads wet. The pads, through capillary action, draw up the water. You blow air across. As the water evaporates, it absorbs the BTUs. What's working out is the latent heat of evaporation. Latent heat of evaporation, I think, is 924 BTUs per pound or something like that. Either way, it's actually more than the latent heat of, technical terms, leaving me, latent heat of freezing. But anyhow, the point being, when the water evaporates, it can actually store more. No, I'm an idiot. I'm describing this wrong. It takes so many BTUs to get water to evaporate. Like, it'll be the same temperature, but once it evaporates, it has absorbed so many more BTUs. That's what cools off the air. is the fact that the water has absorbed all those BTUs. If you're in an environment like we are where it's wet, those BTUs hit your skin, got nowhere to go because it's wet anyhow, and I don't really think it does that good of a job. If you're in an area where it's dry, then you're like, whoo, moisture, this is awesome. And your lips are probably chapped like crazy to begin with anyhow. So that is what it is. So we're going to put this back in. Does it go in a certain way? I don't think so. Nope. Put this back in. Oh, you bastard. Cable does not stay in that well. Let's go ahead. Now first, we're going to fill her up with cool water. I say cool water. It came out of the tap. It's probably like 50 some degrees. But to test it, where did I put my gauge? I got to find my gauge. All right, so I have my gauges, and I have my water, and I have my readings. So we're doing several tests here. Of course, measure the air temperature going in and out, see how effective that is. I'm also going to measure the humidity going in and out to prove to you what I'm talking about. And on top of that, I'm going to measure the water temperature. Now, this may not be as effective a test because I need to create a sump for this. Like, this isn't doing what I really thought it did, and I will modify something to make it do what I want it to. But for now, we're just gonna see where it goes. And you'll at least be able to see the difference between, so I have warm water and cold water in here. Let me squirrel this up so it sits in there nicely. Put this in there. Yeah, there we go. That works. All right. Now you can see that. Power. Plug it in, plug it in. Oh, by the way, for any of you YouTubers out there who are trying to, or any of you potential YouTubers out there who want to start a YouTube channel and all you have is an iPhone, which does have a decent camera, biggest problem, which I just ran into. Why is it on Celsius? I don't want to use Celsius. We use freedom meters here. So, biggest problem is if you're running 4K on the camera, you have to cut the video off at 10 minutes or it won't load to iCloud and it won't load to your computer. Like, it's annoying and ridiculous. So, I was hoping to get away with a no edit video, but we didn't. All right. Let me just adjust my gauges here from Celsius to freedom units. Relative humidity, delta T, wet bulb, dry bulb. There we go. Oh, wait, no, that's good. Yep, good, okay. So we have our supply temperature and Fahrenheit right now. Whew, that's reading 77 degrees. Is it really? It's 76 degrees in here. It's 76. Fuck, it's hot in here. Anyhow, all right. This is water out of my tap. Nothing fancy about it. You probably should use bottled water or filtered water in these things, but whatever. I'm trying this out. So, water out of the tap. For whatever, let's see what temperature it gets to. I'm going to fill this thing up. To max. And there's max. All right. What's my temperature? 75 degrees. Okay, so the water's room temperature. Let's try this. All right. Oh, it's got a night light. That's adorable. For whatever that's worth. You know what? Why did you just lose reception? You dorky. Jack you up into the airflow a little better. Or not. There we go. Alright, so we are starting to come down in temperature as the water starts getting down in there. And our water is 74 degrees at this point. So I am going to predict that we are not going to see a large drop in water. Well, we're not going to see a drop in water temperature because there's nothing pumping the water back up. Our water reservoir just bleeds down and evaporates slowly. So I need to modify this thing to make it drip faster so that it actually does, and then pump it back up. Because what I want to happen is I want the water to pool in the bottom and then pump it up and over top of that element. That's what I want to happen. I want to recirculate the water over top of that element, but that's going to take an extra pump. So I guess it's good I got a couple extra pumps on Amazon Day. So, what are we at? All right, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to cut the video, let this thing run for a little bit, see how it performs. Right now, I'm blowing 70 degrees. I've got 75.9 on the 76 degrees on the back end of it. We have a wet bulb of 65 per... That's the wet bulb, 60 to 65, so 57% humidity in here. That could be worse. It's getting up to like 80% in the last couple of weeks, but that could be worse. It's still a little high. Still can prove it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the video. Let this thing run for a little bit. In a couple seconds, we'll see how it performed. Alright, so I've been running this thing for like 30 minutes at this point, and it's not getting any better. Like, the best this thing's doing is maybe a 5-degree delta T here. And that's like if I jam it up in there, I might can get like 5 degrees. So here's the thing. If I put like really cold, as you saw, the water temperature is like 74 degrees in here. So it's just evaporative effect only. If I put really cold water in this thing, then it would work really well. Like, you put ice in it. You know, put ice in there and let it run like that. Then it would work a lot better. But just evaporative, like, the best you're going to do is like 5 degrees delta at that point. And to be honest, the longer it runs, I think oh no, there you get further away from it, it does a little better. Yeah, so there's our 5 degrees. I mean, it's a little cooler. Okay, but here's the ticket. 58% humidity. See what happens when I come over here. 59, 60, 61, 62. The humidity starts climbing rapidly. As I said, these things work by evaporating water. Now, I don't know about you. You know, maybe you're living in Arizona or New Mexico or wherever it is, and this would be beautiful for you. I would highly recommend this for you. I mean, for Pete's sakes, you plug it into... modify the cable to plug into a USB and run with it. You can put a little battery pack on it and, you know, use it anywhere. Set it up at your desk and plug it into a USB. You can use that. You know, 74% humidity. Right now, I'm saying that's too much humidity. So you're going to gain a couple degrees, but you're also going to gain a lot of humidity, and that's not really going to be that comfortable. So I'm going to say that I would not recommend this if you're living in an already wet climate. Like, if you're over 55% humidity existing, then this really isn't going to do that much for you. You're better off finding some of those other cooling solutions, like the ice chest air conditioners that you can go back a couple videos and check out. As for my purposes for this thing, I'm going to have to modify it. I'm still not ready to give up on it, but I am going to have to modify it and at least use it as a housing. That works. So I can put an element in here, a drip element, a drip pad, and then take a pump and pump the water from the bottom up to the top so it does a little drip pad action, and then you have the fan there. So I'm going to have to modify it for my purposes, but for the purposes of actually using it as an air conditioner, no. I'm going to have to say no. So sorry, Arctic Air, but I really can't recommend this if you're already in a high humidity environment. It just won't work that well. If you're in a low humidity environment, have at it. This thing's a beautiful solution. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell icon to make sure you see the future episodes when they come out. Like I said, I have some very interesting plans for this. I'm going to modify it and see if we can't make a water chiller out of it. I also have some other videos coming out. One of my videos just hit over 1,000 views. I'm really excited about that because it's a first for me. So I'm going to throw kind of a celebration. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Have a great day.